Be more than happy to see you. All you need to do is jump on to ihub.net.au.
Young woman of color who has a crazy idea to start a business.
Don't be afraid to revise that. The goalpost is sometimes a moving outcome as such. So, but a lot of the agents also in the counseling sphere are avatars of me. So they actually feel like they're speaking to me and they're meeting me well before they do that in the flesh. So uniqueness of us is that we are the only clinic offering a complete Zeiss laser suite. Everybody wants quick results, but we also want safe results. We want predictable, we want consistent results. And these are the things that these lasers are now delivering. I'm not a fan of mum guilt because there shouldn't be a negative connotation to being a working mum. Working mums are in this position, this role, because they want to do something meaningful for their families, for their children.
You feel proud of yourself being a brown woman and achieving everything that you have?
Foremost, ophthalmology is a male-dominated field. And in order to get the approval or the consensus understanding among your colleagues, you've got to be performing at a very, very high level already. But number one, it's got to be consideration. There has to be a lot of trust, but most importantly, mutual respect.
Tell us about that moment you mentioned where you said, Dad had to let me go. What was that conversation that you had with Dad?
There'd be no reason to hold the daughters back. This is something that's absolutely going to enhance their lives. It will make them proud. At the end of the day, it will really give them opportunities for things they may never have otherwise. So support your daughters.
Welcome to the next episode of S&S Diaries, a modern South Asian podcast where we talk business, life, and everything in between. Today, I have a very special guest with me, someone who was brought up in rural Malaysia, a daughter of a planter who backed her dreams quite early on in life. Medicine was her passion and calling, which led her to travel all around the world before she decided to settle down in beautiful Sunshine Coast. Today, she runs one of the very few clinics which offers the most advanced laser technology in all of the planet. Welcome to the S&S Diaries, Dr. Sonia Moorthy.
Thank you, Shah. That's a very generous introduction.
Lovely to have you on board. So, Dr. Sonia, tell us, growing up a country girl, what is one core memory that you still carry with you that feels like home?
I was constantly surrounded by greenery and lush feel around me and of nature. And I wanted my children to experience that as well. And I truly see that here on the Sunshine Coast, and it always makes me feel like I'm home.
So daily walks in the lush greenery, that's what we do?
Well, yeah, you can throw the surf in and the ocean view, that doesn't hurt.
Absolutely. So Dr. Sonia, were you the first in the family to leave home to pursue a career?
Yes, I was, which was, a difficult decision, but one that was necessary.
And who took it the hardest?
I'm the only daughter, so Dad had a little bit of a tough time because dads and daughters have a special bond, of course. But ultimately, he knew he had to let me go.
I'm sure, though, he was the person who backed you up the most.
My dad has always been a pillar of strength, yes. And a lot of why I'm here today is because of him, yes. So I'm truly grateful to have had those nurturing moments in my upbringing.
And Dr. Sonia, why medicine?
Well, growing up, I suppose, with the South Asian culture, it is doctor, lawyer, medicine, engineering. Those sorts of things were floating around in terms of career opportunities. But fundamentally, I wanted to do something that had a bit of heart in it. And it was obvious that medicine was the choice.
So, Dr. Sonia, tell us about that moment you mentioned where you said Dad had to let me go. What was that conversation that you had with Dad? What was that like?
it was a difficult conversation because of all the entrenched values that you have being in a Southeast Asian family. But fundamentally, I knew that this was the way forward to forge a path for myself in doing what I loved. And Dad also understood that in order for me to become this wholesome, successful person, he had to allow me to achieve new experiences in life. And through a few tears, some hugs, perhaps a little bit of shouting in between all of that as well, we came to a joint understanding that this was necessary. It wasn't going to be easy, but ultimately it was for my success and happiness. And my dad is a very wonderful man in that respect, and understood that he needed to let me do this. And I'm always going to be grateful for him for this.
What is the one message you want to give to families who are quite afraid of sending their daughters away to pursue careers abroad or out of home, really?
Well, I think there should be no reason to hold the daughters back. This is something that's absolutely going to enhance their lives. It will make them proud. At the end of the day, it will really give them opportunities for things they may never have otherwise. So support your daughters and give them the path to achieve this for themselves. You
mentioned new experiences. Gosh, you've certainly had lots of experiences in your career journey traveling the world. Being a tropical girl yourself, now on beautiful Sunshine Coast, and of course growing up in Malaysia, what was life like in Scotland?
Well, I tell you, Shah, I landed into Scotland, bussed in from the main airport and saw men wearing kilts, which, okay, they looked like skirts initially, but instantly struck by this strange culture, not to mention the weather, the language, the food, all of it put together felt so foreign, and I felt so out of place. I nearly doubted why I was there. But it's suffice to say that you land on your feet pretty quickly, and that I did, because I knew my greater purpose. I knew why I was there, and I knew that this was all part of the journey. And it's either I embraced it, and that would give me the strength to go forward, and also remembering that there were people counting on me at home. So I took it all in, Scotland and all its beauty and all its quirkiness, and I absolutely loved it at the end.
And how old were you?
I will always remember that I was 20, turning 21 that year in Scotland. So.
Oh, wow. 20 going on 21. I can absolutely relate. I was 17 going on 18 when I landed in Australia myself. No family, no one to pick me up at the airport. So I can truly resonate. But looking back at it, it's astounding how far we have come.
Yeah, I completely agree, Shah. When you sort of feel you're on your own, but really you're not, because you've got all that love and support with you from wherever you've come on this journey, and that makes a hell of a difference.
Absolutely. Growing up in a Malaysian family, of course, there would have been lots of conditioning instilled in you as to what a good Malaysian woman or Indian woman should be like.
Yes, I think it's no different from all other Indian cultures, regardless of the country of origin. But fundamentally, women are the nurturers. They're expected to be at home and looking after household affairs and the children, while the fathers are the income earners. But suffice to say that although that happened in my family, there was a good balance. And mum and dad demonstrated equal respect and shared joint decisions from day one. So financially, there was none of this separation between mum and dad. It was also always joint. And for that reason also, my mum taught me a few things, in that you may lead a slightly different role in navigating family life compared to your partner, but it has always to be respectful. It should be mutual. And you should always remember your place, not only as a nurturer in the family, as a woman, but also that you have the ability to navigate your family through good and bad times, and fundamentally a pillar of strength. So it wasn't the traditional upbringing as such. Mum made sure we understood all aspects of it to make us the women we are today.
You make a very good point there, Dr. Sonia. So there are still many families out there with the traditional upbringing at this point as well. For those that are listening to you, what is some advice that you would give to them?
I think fundamentally, an understanding is really, really important. Understanding where our parents have come from, how their lives have been shaped by their upbringings and values, but also that in order to progress, in order to derive different outcomes for yourself, change is necessary. So it's that mutual respect which fundamentally has to flow through, and it doesn't necessarily has to be attached with conflict or any sort of grievances within the family, but that we should be able to communicate this to our loved ones clearly and establishing the basis for it, which with mutual love and support. And I couldn't emphasize on that more.
So, Dr. Sonia, of course, pursuing a career while managing home life is a fine balance. You definitely require a partner who's supportive, or even family who's supportive, to assist you to pursue this. How did you go about doing this in your life?
Well, I think I got really lucky with Harry, my husband. And although at the outset, he didn't necessarily choose this path for himself, he's now the best support I could have asked for. He's an amazing father. He runs the home like a well-oiled machine. And he also supports me and has done so throughout my training and achieving all my goals in being a world-class laser vision specialist. So we've been able to do that only because we've worked as a team. And I think fundamentally, no one person usurps the other. No one person is better than the other. You work together and you learn that each of us have our strengths. Each of us have things that we're better at. And for us, this is what we've chosen that complements our lives best. It's a role that we've consciously taken on, decisions that we've talked about and consciously done together. But fundamentally, it's worked so well for us. And I have to say that no one person is a mountain. You always need a good support system behind you, be that in your partner, be that in your close-knit family, but you need that support because there are going to be good times, but there are also going to be tough times. And you want to be performing at your very best at all times. And in order to do that, you need a support system. And I've had that throughout all these years, and I'll always be grateful for that.
What are 3 things that you would say are the most important to build a foundation for a successful partnership?
Well, it's been evident with Harry and I that number one, it's got to be consideration. There has to be a lot of trust, but most importantly, mutual respect. And I think you've got to have those pillars really, really sound to be able to take on an endeavor where you're working together, your business partners together, your life partners as well. And you want to maintain that harmony and stability. And it is not an easy juggle most times, but we've come to a point now where we're so solid in our foundation that we don't even think about it now. It just flows, and it is probably the most beautiful thing in our marriage after all these years that I can truly attest to.
What are your thoughts on the term mum guilt?
Okay, Shah, now I'm not a fan of mum guilt because there shouldn't be a negative connotation to being a working mum. Working mums are in this position, this role, because they want to do something meaningful for their families, for their children, to better their lives and enhance the lives of their children as well. So whilst the time is limited with the children during the week, the time is meaningful. And I see this in my own interaction with my children, that it is not just engagement time, it is being present. And I am there for them at the end of the day, after school, we have a really good catch up. I make sure that we're all there, speaking to each other and sharing our days. And that's a lot to be said for family life. And on the weekends, I make sure that I'm always there to support them through their little endeavors, schools, crafts, walks in the park, playgrounds, whatever they want to do. Because it is those moments, even though not as much as I would like it to be, but they know that mum's there for them when they need me.
How do you maintain this balance?
Hey, Nasha, I think I again have to credit my parents for this. I saw this in my own upbringing. Even though mum was a stay-at-home, she instilled a good amount of spirituality in us, a good amount of focus, and the basic foundations for a family. And I've in turn translated this to my children. So although my patients are important to me, my clinical practice is important to me, I know that when it's time to shut these doors, walk out of this clinic, I shut all of that off and I give my full attention to my children and my husband, because they deserve it. They deserve it not only for all the support and love they've given to me, but because I want them to know they are important, that I truly value them, and I want to harness and instill the same foundations of love and spirituality that my parents instilled in me all those years ago.
Do you see more of Dr. Sonia or Harry in your kids?
I don't see a lot of Dr. Sonia yet, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but I see a lot of Harry, and I'm really proud of that.
As a woman of colour who has established herself here in Australia, can you share with us some challenges or barriers that have come along the way for you?
You know, it was interesting at the outset when we set off to do this. The challenges in being a woman of colour, or just a woman really, is that first and foremost, ophthalmology is a male-dominated field. And in order to get the approval or the consensus understanding among your colleagues, you've got to be performing at a very, very high level already. Because at the end of the day, your results will speak volumes above everything else. Your patients' experiences, how you've enhanced lives, these are the things that matter at the end of the day. Everything else will then meld away. So I think have conviction in who you are. I had that conviction in myself from the beginning, and certainly I've built that along the way. So it really harnesses a lot of strength and a lot of confidence in developing yourself professionally. And I think that is still, I wouldn't say so much a challenge now, but something I'm conscious of and I'm constantly reevaluating. And it should be one of the biggest focuses as you go along this journey, and especially has been for me.
Does it worry you that in today's time this industry is still male dominant?
I actually don't think about it too much. You know, it's interesting that even though men largely lead the field of laser vision correction here in Australia, you've got many examples around the world where women are leading the way, and in particular in India, actually. This has been a real eye-opener, and it really, you know, inspires the rest of us to do just the same, if not better. And now we also have male surgeons who are really, really excellent in what they do, advocating for women surgeons to take a bigger stand and to be more at the forefront in our field. And that's really heartwarming to see.
What is the one advice you'd give to young brown women in medicine that you wish someone had given you early on?
You must have, as I said earlier, courage and conviction in yourself. Never allow somebody else to define you because of the differences in how you appear culturally or otherwise, because that may in fact be your strength. Continue on with consistency and careful, hard decisions sometimes need to be made, but understand that you've got to have this strong support system behind you, and execution has to be consistent over time, because consistency is actually much, much harder than the starting point, and you'll realize this as you go along. So the constant change that one experiences in medicine, ophthalmology, being a business leader, in all of this environment, it means that we're constantly juggling many, many balls. But remember that you bring all of it to the table and you look at different aspects of it. But remember that you've got to put it all together, because this then tells your story, and it inspires others to do the same. So what you think might be your weakness at the outset might end up being your strength.
Do you feel proud of yourself being a brown woman and achieving everything that you have?
It's interesting you asked me this, because I've only thought about this in recent times, maybe the last 12 months, because across Australia, there are really only 3 brown laser eye surgeons, and I'm the 3rd one, and it's nice to be in this niche club. Actually, they are equally dominant, strong personalities, but exceptional at what they do. And I am feel really proud that I've achieved this level in my professional career, and I continue to forge forward. So yes, it's a great point in my career.
Dr. Sonia, have you ever felt like you've had to soften yourself to be able to be heard or palatable in a room?
I think perhaps earlier on in my training that perhaps boils down again to that sort of sense of confidence and conviction of who you are. But as time has gone by, I believe more in clarity and direct communication. And the confidence has certainly built over time. So whilst I generally still take a softer approach, a more empathetic approach and that's just boils down to my personality, I don't believe that I sort of have to lower myself in any way or made to feel smaller than I am, because I have the confidence that I am delivering an exceptional service now, and my patients appreciate that about me.
In this whole process, did you ever doubt yourself that you would not make it to where you are today?
I certainly had those thoughts when I started this process in trying to deliver world-class laser vision services on the Sunshine Coast. But I tell you one thing that has made me really resilient, ironically, is all the experiences I've had to date. And that is even in my personal sphere, and the changes we've had, the challenges we've had to overcome. And slowly but surely, I think my colleagues around me started to realize that I'm starting to set the pace for what I care should be on the Sunshine Coast. And that acceptance has come through more and more and more in the last few years. And it's continuing to grow. So it's certainly been a personal learning, a really important point for me as well, that what you believe you may not be able to achieve may in fact be otherwise. So absolutely, a doubt has perhaps all but melted away now.
Why the Sunshine Coast of all places?
Well, it's a great place to raise families, Shah, because there's only so many degustation dinners you can do with young children. So we thought, what's going to be better for our lives, for the nurturing of our children, for them to feel as I felt when I grew up all those years ago, surrounded by the beautiful greenery. And we've got the additional bonus of the beaches here. We've got beautiful things for the children to appreciate growing up. We've got world-class schools. We've got everything you could hope for to build a successful family life here. And it is that balance that I truly yearned for the family, not to have to work extended hours and then have 1-hour commutes back home. But here, it all just seems to fit perfectly. And the people in the community have made a huge difference as well. And I feel that in the people that come through this door, in the thanks that we get, in all the lives that we've helped to improve, it really has been such an overwhelming experience. And it's one that's continuing to grow. And I look forward to doing this for many more years, and for my children to appreciate the change that we're making here for the local community.
Tell us more about what is Press Beyond, Smile Pro, and the Zeiss VisuMax 800.
So these terms encompass procedures that are done for laser vision correction. They can correct distance vision. Some of them correct near and distance vision as well. And that includes astigmatism as well, which is a change in the shape of the eye. So it is all delivered on the Zeiss laser platform, which is a leading edge laser company with exceptional optics. And the VisuMax 800 is their signature laser. So that is how the treatment is delivered. It is the fastest cutting laser on the planet. And if you think about it, if you're lying there for about 8 to 10 seconds only, it is a huge difference in terms of patient experience when undergoing these procedures, because understandably there's a lot of anxiety surrounding it. So the laser will deliver that treatment quite effortlessly in a short space of time that optimizes patients' comfort and results in a really good outcome. Now, the Smile Pro procedure has been around for a number of years now. In fact, it's just hit 13 million procedures worldwide, majority of it being in Asia, of course. And it is a bladeless, flapless procedure. So what that means in comparison to LASIK, which perhaps more of you are familiar with, is that only a very small incision is made of about 2 to 3 millimeters. A disc-shaped tissue is then fashioned by the laser and it's removed surgically by myself. And that results in a correction of your visual errors, whatever they may be. Now, in comparison, LASIK is a procedure where a bigger area is created by the laser, so sort of a hinge as such and a flap. And that results in delivery of treatment slightly differently on a second laser as well, and that complements vision correction as well. However, Press Beyond, which is a LASIK-based procedure, is able to correct not only your distance vision, but your near vision as well. And it is the one and only most published procedure in the current medical literature that supports all of this, and there are results globally from India to Italy. So it truly is an exceptional technology, and it's been delivering some really great results. And these are things that I've brought back here now to the Sunshine Coast. So in Australia, when these lasers were rolled out, there were only 3 clinics that were offering these services, Smile Pro and Press Beyond, because it is unique to Zeiss. And over the last 3 years, this has actually expanded to at least 7 clinics, with mine being the first in Queensland. And it really is a testament to how well these procedures are working, how quick they are, how exceptional the outcomes have been. And if you think about it, 8 seconds for a flap cutting procedure, it really is nothing. You blink and it's over. So it truly has revolutionized laser vision correction for our patients today.
Amazing. Other than the time factor, are there any other benefits associated to the procedure compared to what's available in the market right now?
Well, it's definitely much more comfortable, and that's to do with how the laser engages with the eye. But also, both eyes are done very quickly on the day, and visual recovery now is much faster. And these are advances that have happened over the older laser platforms, primarily because we have very busy lives today, don't we? And everybody wants quick results, but we also want safe results. We want predictable, we want consistent results. And these are the things that these lasers are now delivering.
Rightfully so, competition is growing really quickly. Tell me, what are some strategies you're implementing to stay ahead of the market and ahead of your competition?
Well, we've always been proud of our innovation strategies here at iHub. And in particular, we've introduced a number of AI agents to assist in patient workflow, in clinical counseling, patient information, and this is all happening even before they walk through our door. So that extends from lens surgery with lens options, what these procedures involve, as well as laser surgery counseling with regards to what it involves, how quickly it's done, what the potential benefits are, what the risks are, which is relatively low in modern day laser surgery, and post-op care as well. So effectively, it's taking the time that would require a considerable discussion with the clinical team out now, and patients are being empowered with all that knowledge well before time. So it's a really good experience for the patients because that instills a lot of confidence in them as to what to expect, and it certainly gives them a lot to look forward to and alleviates anxiety as well. So it's worked really, really well in our practice, and we're continuing to push forward with this.
So, Dr. Sonia, you mentioned you're one of the only clinics that provide this service in Queensland. How do we find you?
Okay, yes. The uniqueness of us is that we are the only clinic offering a complete Zeiss laser suite, which is the Visumax 800 and the Mel 90. So there's none other like it in Queensland. And we're very proud of this because we have the only capabilities to deliver the procedures mentioned previously, Smile Pro and Pressbound. We are right next to the Badrin Private Hospital in the Nucleus Medical Suites. It is easy to find, it's accessible, there's plenty of parking, we're only 2 levels up, so not too much navigation at all, and would be really happy to see you and to discuss your visual needs.
AI is certainly the way of the future in many industries. Tell me, you mentioned AI agents managing a lot of the patient care aspect. Do you think this is making us lose human touch?
Not at all. They're complementing it, if anything, Shah. So the patients are informed they will be speaking to an AI agent first and foremost. But a lot of the agents also in the counseling sphere are avatars of me. So they actually feel like they're speaking to me and they're meeting me well before they do that in the flesh. So I found this to actually, already give them a sense of connection to me, which is great. So it's been a great addition to our clinical practice and the offerings, which is truly unique to anyone else in the state even. So we are then introducing more additions on the admin front to field patient questions. And the reason for that is because we don't want patients to be waiting when they call in, seeking certain information about, say, a laser vision correction. So you don't want them to be hanging on the phone for 2 minutes before they actually speak to someone. In the meantime, they can get information from an AI agent instead, which is tested to deliver quite excellent real-time conversation. And this is based on a database that has over 23 years of experience. So we've got a lot of innovation behind this, and we're looking to expand this further because ultimately it benefits the patients.
What's your advice to budding entrepreneurs who want to start something one of its kind?
I think have a clear goal in mind and have that early, but also don't be afraid to revise that. The goalpost is sometimes a moving outcome as such. So go back, revisit this as many times as possible, but make sure it's definitive and it's clear to you at the end of the day. But also make sure you can back up your ability. Don't wait for approval from others, because you must have the best conviction in yourself first and foremost. You must also be cognizant about where you finally choose to work, and in workplaces that will respect your contribution, to team members that will respect your innovation and your style of work ethic. And this needs to flow through the whole team. So make sure that you and your values are represented throughout your ventures, because that is one thing that will carry you further than anything else. And finally, acknowledge yourself for your accomplishments always, because you are your hardest critique, and sometimes you forget that the biggest person in the picture is actually you. I also believe in giving back, and I think this is a really fundamental part of this whole process as well. So if you ever feel you're stuck and you need a helping hand, I'm always happy to be contacted. We do a number of events where we provide educational input to patients or people who are seeking advice about vision correction. I do this through a number of mediums. I write in a local column in the magazine, here on the Sunshine Coast, my weekly preview. But also we have events targeted at our local optometry community because it's about capacity building and developing their knowledge base as well. Because fundamentally, if they can do things better and we can work more cohesively, then that translates to better eye care for all of you. Our future patients.
If you had to start iHub again today, what is one business decision you would make differently, learning from your experiences?
I might perhaps have more cohesiveness with my husband at the outset in all the difficult decisions we had to navigate, because we worked very, very closely. And as you know, this is a tricky path to go through when you're in work and life together. So there were perhaps times we could have made better decisions jointly if we had more open communication between each other. Perhaps fundamentally, it would have led to a lot less stress and a lot more of progression in the things that we wanted to do. But we got there anyway. Perhaps sometimes through a longer path, but suffice to say, I've learned a lot through that process. And also understanding our resources, how that matches up investments, and understanding that if you're going to invest back, then do it with a good scale up in mind, because that then helps to add to future revenue and future business expansion. So we've done this over the last 4 years, very proud of this, and it is only going further. And these are things I would certainly tread with more consideration going forward.
Beautifully said. And Dr. Sonia, what is one advice you'd give to a young woman of color who has a crazy idea to start a business? Where should they start?
Well, always have the conviction to set the tone, the tenor, and pace of your own work and your goals, because ultimately you gain independence and a lot of personal satisfaction from this, but ensure you have a great support system, because there will be those tough days, and that is when you're going to need it most, because it will carry you through a lot more hurdles than you would have ever envisioned starting off. But once you get over those humps, it's pretty smooth sailing. And I can tell you from where I'm sitting now that I couldn't be happier.
And that brings us to the end of the questionnaire. However, I have a quick rapid fire section to go through. Don't think about it too much. Answer with what pops into your head first. Try to keep it to one word if you can. All right, so let's make a start. Coffee or chai?
Chai, for sure.
Mum's best dish?
Chicken curry.
Bollywood or Collywood?
Oh, Bollywood.
What was your last text to Harry?
Don't forget to pick up the kids.
Favorite surgery soundtrack?
It's Ella Fitzgerald. I listen to a lot of 60s and classics.
AI in 5 years, friend or frenemy?
Friend, for sure.
Sambar or samosa?
Yeah, samosa.
Samosa sambar is the right answer. Best line your dad gave you?
Always stay strong.
One thing your parents still tell you off for?
Keep your laundry neatly.
I have been 10 years, one word.
Exceptional.
Okay, that's it. Well, Thank you so much for your time today, Dr. Sonia. Before I let you go, one message to our listeners. How can they find you here in Sunshine Coast if they ever wanted to make an appointment to come and see you?
Be more than happy to see you. All you need to do is jump on to ihub.net.au and you can book yourself in for a free laser vision assessment or obtain a referral for any general ophthalmology consults.
Well, guys, that's a wrap for the S&S Diaries. If you liked today's episode, please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.